Good morning. A good afternoon to respected judges, Mr. Pravesh Menon and Dr. Anita Patel, and to all the participants from various law institutions. I, Rableen Kaur, welcome all to to, third virtual debate competition 2020 organized by Center of Legal Studies, Geeta Ratan International Business School. Our first judge is Dr. Pravesh Menon. He is a senior partner at MZ Legal. He chairs MZ in criminal litigation, white collar, and regulatory defense practices. He is an advisor to prominent and national multinational operation at the port level issue of across borders bribery, corruption, fraud, embezzlement, and money. He has over 20 years of niche experience in trial and appellate work before international and national in the fields of financial fraud, money laundering, bribery, corruption, extradition, cybercrime, and other historic areas. Our second judge is Dr. Anita A. Patil. She is an associate professor of law at Jamia College of Law in Bangalore. She has done Masters in Law 2012 from Karnataka University, Tarawa, with 2 gold medals in specialization of business and trade laws. She has joined chair on Counselor of Law Practice from National School of Indian University in Bangalore in July 2012. She has successfully completed her PhD on a critical study of legal framework to control misleading advertisement in India, with a special reference to food, drugs, and cosmetics. In June 2016, she is also qualified as accredited mediator of negotiation and mediation at Indian Institute of Arbitration and Mediation. We welcome you, judges. A special thanks for sparing their precious time. Going on further with basic rules, all the participants are not to leave the virtual debate room and to stay here until their turn comes. CL Gibbs encourages a healthy discussion and exchange of ideas among the students and provide them to platform their voices on their opinion on current and national, international, global issues. Before moving forward, I would like to present the national guidelines and working of virtual debate room. There will be draw of lots to decide the order in which the teams will be coming up to enter the virtual room to present their debate. During the debate, time left will be shown on the screen at 2 intervals, that is 1, 3 limits are left, and time is over. Total time allotted for each team is 8 minutes. The team shall decide the time limit of the speaker 1 and speaker 2, but the minimum time for each speaker is 2 minutes. Speaker 1 will debate for the motion and Speaker 2 will debate against the motion. Suffix A for the motion and suffix B for the against the motion. Rebuttals will be included in the 8 minutes given to each team. The team score will be calculated adding both the team members' individual score. The language for the debate competition shall be English only. Use of web camera and face camera while speaking is mandatory for every participant. Reading from any written document is prohibited. If it is observed by the judges or the organizer, the teams will be disqualified. CLS Gibbs shall have sole discretion to assess penalties to disqualify the teams for any failure in abiding by such or any foregoing rules. All team members must refrain from disclosing their identity of their institution at any time and in any manner during the entire competition. Non-compliance with this rule shall result in immediate disqualification of the term. The decision of CLS Gibbs in this regard shall be final and binding. Now, we may continue with the draw of lots of the session 4 and our first team is 3NDC 020. Team number 3NDC 020. Our second team number is 3NDC 4049. Second team 3NDC 049. Third number is 3NDC017, but they are not here, so they are absent. They will not be presenting. Team 017 will be not presenting. And so 011 will be also not presenting. They are both absent. Remaining team number 3NDC019. Team number 3NDC019. So let's start the session by calling on the team number 3NDC020. Team number 3NDC020. Please raise their hand so that we can let you in. Meanwhile, team number 049, please stay ready for their part. After them, you are the next team. So please stay ready. All the team members are requested to switch on their cameras and videos. Please switch on your camera. Your team member.
I guess she will be joining within a few minutes.
Okay, please introduce yourself and your team by your team code to the judges till she joins.
Okay. Good afternoon, judges. My name is Arya Nilesh Ingle. And first of all, thank you for giving me this wonderful opportunity to express my opinion on the Citizenship Amendment Act. And today I will be specifically talking about the in favor of the Citizenship Amendment Act.
Can you please contact your teammate? Team members of 3NDC049, please stay ready. Team 020, please raise your hand so we can let you in.
Ma'am, I just contacted her.
Yes.
She is facing some kind of technical issue. Means her video and audio.
Yes.
She is unable to join.
Okay, she is entering from okay, I think so she has joined. Share book. Yes. Please turn on your camera. Team 020. Please turn on your camera. Hello. Yes, you guys may introduce yourself to judges by your team code and as suffix A and B, and then your time will start.
Okay. You are not supposed to name yourself, please name.
Yes, sir.
They are not supposed to spell their name here. They have to introduce themselves with the numbers here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's what I said. Please introduce yourself as your team code and suffix A and B. That's all needed, not your names.
Good afternoon, everyone. Our team code is 020.
You may start now.
Okay, fine. First, I'll be talking about the points that are in favor of the Citizenship Amendment Act. So, as we all know that the Citizenship Amendment Act has been into effect from 28th of January 2020, and this act is really a very important act as it is regarding the migration and the citizenship given to those migrants. The first point when we talk about the Citizenship Amendment Act that comes into argument is the act deprives some people of their citizenship. But I would like to say that the act actually does not deprive the citizens. It confers the citizens their citizenship because the people from the three countries, that is Afghanistan, Bangladesh and Pakistan, and specifically the minorities who are presiding over there may have faced the persecution because these three countries are Islamic countries and the persecution is definitely would be have faced by the minorities. So the act has nothing to do with the Muslims or the Muslims, especially in our country, because most of the people are saying that what about the Muslims in our country? The Muslims in our country will always be the citizens of India, and they will not have to face any kind of problem. The main point is that the minorities from those three countries, so they will be given citizenship, and there is nothing to do with the Muslims. Now the next thing that is really important, the people argue about that, is that Article 14. Article 14 of this Constitution is being violated by the Citizenship Amendment Act. But I think that no, Article 14 isn't being violated because Article 14, that is right to equality, has two provisions in it. That is equality before law. That means no one would be discriminated and everyone is equal in front of the law. And the second one, that is equal protection of law. That means the likes are to be treated differently from the unlikes. Means a lion cannot be treated like a lamb. There is a different provision for a lion and there is a different provision for a lamb. We can't make the same provision for both of them. So that's the difference. Now, here in the Citizenship Amendment Act, we talk about the minorities because Afghanistan, Bangladesh and Pakistan are already Islamic state. So how could the Muslims be facing the persecution? The persecution is faced by the minorities. So we are specifically giving citizenship to the minorities, those who are there, and the six religion, that is the Hindus, Sikhs, Buddhists, Jains, Christians, and Parsis. So that's the main point over here. That is the main objective of the Citizenship Amendment Act. And one more thing, that the people say that if the Citizenship Amendment Act is giving citizenship, Indian citizenship to the minorities, then what about the Ahmadis and the Shias? What about them? So here it is a very good classification actually between the persecution, religious persecution, and the ethnic violence. Religious persecution is something on the basis of religion the people are being persecuted, and ethnic violence is something like the same group of people, means the group in the state religion itself, that group is being violated. So the Indian Citizenship Act does the provision that the people who are being persecuted on the basis of religion, they would be given Indian citizenship, not the people who are being criticized on the basis of ethnic violence. So that's what. And the third point is that the Northeastern, they are like they are boiling like what on the Citizenship Amendment Act. So for that, I would like to say that there is nothing, means the people are already protected by the Article 6 of the Constitution, because Article 6 of the Constitution has protected Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Tripura, Manipur, Mizoram. All those northeastern states are protected under Article 6. And one more thing, that the inner line permit also grants them full protection under the article. So there is nothing with the northeast. The question, the main problem, that why are the people protesting in Assam, is that, okay, fine, only 3 minutes are left. So I would give chance to Shreya to speak now.
So, good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to speak some points against the Citizenship Amendment Act. So let's start. The bill was introduced in the 17th Lok Sabha by Home Minister Amit Shah on December 9th and was passed on 10 December, and the bill was passed by Rajya Sabha on 11 December. The Citizenship Amendment Act 2019 has become the most controversial legislation since the promulgation of the Constitution of India on 26 January 1950. Different arguments for and even against have been discussed in the parliament, in media, and even on the streets, yet common people are highly confused regarding its short-term and a long-term impact on them. So only big logic in the favor of the act has been that it is giving citizenship to some section and taking away citizenships of none. So genuine citizens of the country should not worry. The major politics parties say that it violates Constitution Article 14, one that guarantees equality to all. They allege that the new law seeks to make Muslims second-class citizens of India, while preferentially treating non-Muslims in India. Critics say that the bill is a part of a political agenda to marginalize Muslims. The Constitution prohibits religious discrimination against its citizens and guarantee all persons equality before law and equal protection of law. There are several reasons which make people convenience large to reject CAA. Huge funds will be required against humanity, violates United Nations Convention, and the Citizenship Amendment Act is against the Constitution. CAA, Citizenship Amendment Act, does not qualify on the existing constitutional provisions. It violates the spirit of the preamble of the Constitution, wherein it has been stated that we, the people of India, have solemnly resolved to constitute India into sovereign, socialist, secular, and a democratic republic. Secularism is the basic ingredients of the Constitution. Hence, the religious basis of the CAA, Citizenship Amendment Act, violates this ideal. CAA, Citizenship Amendment Act, goes against the Article 14 and 15 of the Constitution. The first one obliges that to the government to protect people on the basis of equality of law. And the second one obliges that prevents it from a discrimination on the basis of religious, race, sex, place of birth, or any of them. CAA also violates the concept of citizenship in the Constitution, which prescribed it in the Article 9. no one shall be the citizens of India by virtue of Article 5 or to be deemed to be a citizens of India by virtue of Article 6 or Article 8 if he has voluntarily acquired the virtue of Article 6 or 8. It has been voluntarily acquired citizenships of any foreign.
You may stop now. The time has been over. Thank you for your very amazing performance. I would like to ask judges that if they want to ask any.
Yeah, firstly, I would like to say that you are not supposed to read. I mainly observed that the I think it's 020B was something reading. That is first thing. Second thing, I would like to ask 20A. As you said, it is not a infringement of Article 14. What does Article 14 say? Can you just recall?
Article 14 means right to equality. And
no,
right
I'm saying this. It states no. The state shall not deny any person. It doesn't say the state shall not deny any citizen. So can you substantiate what did you say? Like as you said, don't you think when it's any person, so everyone, whether he is a a citizen or a non-citizen, so are you not discriminating through this act? When it says the Article 14 says the state shall not deny any person. I'm mainly highlighting any person, but it is not like the state shall not deny any citizen. What is the difference and how do you substantiate your stand?
No. It again comes to the point, the same point, that equal protection of law. That means likes and unlikes. Means now there are reservations in our country like SC, ST, OBC, and there is an open category. Okay, so we can do even here also the same question arises that why are they discriminating? But actually, it is a really
what
very
exactly is this called as? I'm expecting for a term. What exactly is that classification? I do agree to your point, but there is something legally you have to challenge instead of just putting it in general, right? This is a law debate. It's not a general debate where you can just put it, hypothetically or generally. As a law student, I need the terminology which you use during your debates. Okay, fine. Second thing, when you told about the Assam Accord, why exactly is there a lot of agitation there? You said there's already been status given, special status given.
Yeah, there is actually a status given.
Under what? Which schedule are they mainly given the status?
Schedule 6. Schedule 6 actually gives the status. But the problem is that when the government changed, means when the accord was signed, and then after that the
which
government...
clause did you mention about their protection of the Assam Accord? What exactly did the government promise? Your government promised something to the Assam, right? But due to which there was a protest that you did not adhere to the promise which was done in the Assam Accord. What was that exactly?
Actually, I don't have much knowledge about it, but the knowledge that I have is that it is about ethnicity of the northeastern states. It is about their language. It is not something about their religion. It is about their culture. It is about their ethnicity and knowledge.
Yeah, I do agree, but there's already an inner permit given to them, where even if a tourist has to take a permission, even going in the area of certain tribal communities. Then why is there so much of agitation on the northeast states?
Actually, the whole of Assam isn't under this inner line permit. There are some areas in Assam which are left by this inner line permit, and that is because...
Can you emphasize those areas?
Areas.
I would rather say, if you don't know, it's better to be quiet rather than getting talking something which you're not aware and getting trapped. Right? So,
yeah, actually, but I have not read about those areas specifically.
That's what I'm telling you. In case if you have not read, you have not touched that topic. If you're touching the topic, you're dragging yourself into that.
Yeah, I have not done in detail actually.
Right. There are certain tribals. Do you know which are the tribals which have been given? Like Charo Hills, Garbi, Amlong.
Yes. But not much.
No problem. Coming back to the 20B. So I want to know, in case, is there any confirmation given by the government regarding what in case if there is any discrimination, any religious persecution happening to some other country? Will the government be taking those refugees also? Either of you can answer. Not only A, you B also can answer. 020. In case if you have read it.
Can you repeat the question?
I'm asking, like, you all have mainly put only 3 countries, right?
Yes.
What in case if there is a religious persecution happening in Sri Lanka? Can they be accepted? The refugees can be accepted?
No, ma'am, no. No, the refugees cannot be accepted because again, the problem comes there.
What is the clarification given by your Union Minister?
What?
Any clarification given by your government regarding this?
Clarification is not given. But no, I don't think they are acceptable because
last question. What any migrant comes after the date which is mentioned, that is 31st December 2014. What will be the status?
No, then he have to. No, then he is not the citizen. He still has to complete the process of naturalization.
No, that's what I'm asking you. Whether he will be firstly, whether he'll be taken or whether he'll be coming under the definition of illegal migrant, which was defined under 1955. How exactly is the procedure?
I guess those people who entered India before 31st December 2014, they are they are legal citizens of India, because there are more than 17,000 refugees who still living in India. I have read it somewhere.
I'm asking what happens, the consequences. I'm asking the other way around. What happens in case if they come after 31st of December 2014? What is the procedure followed by? Is there any clarification? Are you aware of that? Yes or no? Just don't run around the bush. Just yes or no. I would appreciate a direct answer.
No.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you for joining. So are we taking more time?
I am just calling another team, ma'am. Thank you. So I would like to call team number 3 NDC 049. Team number 3 NDC 049. Anyone there? Team number 3 NDC 049. Okay. Please team number okay, yeah. Okay. We will move on to another team. Team number NDC 019. Team number NDC 019. Okay. I've entered them. They will be just there. And we will start. Please switch on your cameras. team number NDC0919. Is your partner having a problem?
Yes,
Team?
she's also here. I think she is having a problem. If you will allow me 2 minutes, I would like to contact her.
Yeah, you may contact him.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for consideration.
आपके द्वारा डायल किया गया नंबर नेटवर्क
नहीं ओके ओके सब पे ओके ओके करती जाओ.
Guys, you should mute them.
अरे यार पहले तुमने रिक्वेस्ट किया तुम्हारे स्क्रीन पे लेके आएगा लेट स्टार्ट कि आया कि नहीं आया लिखकर.
नहीं आया मेरे में बस इतना आ रहा है कि यू आर साइंड एज एडमिन पता नहीं क्या बोल रहा है.
एडमिन साइन किया एज अ.
हाँ पता नहीं क्या बोल रहा है.
फिर से रिक्वेस्ट करो.
Kindly mute yourself. Hope you know the decorum of the platform, right?
Please tell us your problem.
Actually, she's trying to join, but it's putting that you are the admin, so you cannot join. I mean, something like that message is popping up at her screen. So,
tell her to rejoin this in,
I'm
from the
telling her to
different. Yeah, you can send her the link.
So you can send us another link because we
No. Rejoin from the same link which has been sent to her mail.
I would like to say something that if we are running short on time, then I think if you want, I can start the debate. I'm speaking against the motion. If we are running short on time, I think till then you will be able to join.
The time will be only 8 minutes for both of you. Just tell her to rejoin again rejoin and refresh the entire page. She's rejoining from laptop or phone?
Phone.
Okay. Tell her to rejoin the same link, closing up all the windows of this link.
Okay. I'll tell her. Thank you.
Ma'am, respected judges, ma'am and sir, this is the last team for today because other teams are absent. Only for this session, there are only 2 teams, that is ART NDC 020 and ART NDC 019.
Okay. I'll just confirm you all the absentees. Okay. Anyway, we are the attendees have not yet joined. So just a confirmation. I'll just in section 1, 047 was absent.
Yes. In the first, yes.
Yeah, first session, 047 was absent.
Yes,
in section 2, 010 was absent.
Yes,
in session 3, 022 was absent.
Yes,
and session 4, 011, 017.
Yes, and 049.
And 049.
Yes.
Okay, because we need to clarify so that we all are on the same page.
Yes,
so totally 6 absentees.
Yes, ma'am.
Out of 20.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Team 019.
And another question, Pavnil, by what time we are supposed to send it back? Is there any, because at 4:30 you all are declaring, right? So any time before which we have to send it back?
Ma'am, I will just tell you. I will ask the higher authority and I will just tell you.
Sure.
Team number 109019.
Yes.
Is your team member able?
She's trying from laptop now.
Okay. Ma'am,
Actually,
about
it's showing that please continue.
yeah, ma'am, about the judgment. As soon as we are completed with the presentation, you can send it and mail it.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. About your team member.
One thing more I would like to clarify with the judges. Actually, I have asked the coordinator members, so they have said tomorrow only that the rebuttal will be in that 8 minutes only. So
Yes.
me and my companion, we both have prepared a question session round in that 8 minutes only. But we have seen in the first 0 to 0 teams that judges are asking questions. So we have no problem with it. We are absolutely welcome it, and we would love to answer those questions also. It's just I'm informing that after completing our speeches, my teammate and I, we will ask a few questions with each other, and then we'll allow or we'll be pleased if judges will interject us.
No problem.
Thank you so much.
Can you let us know at what time she'll be joining us? Miss 019A. How long it will take? Can anyone let us know? Because we can't be, we have to merely adhere to the rules. Any exemption cannot be given to any teams because later it may have a objection from other teams. So please kindly clarify us.
Is Pravleen here? I think even the anchor has left us.
Sir, they have called that they have some problems with their network issue. The
Yeah, but we
organizing
need to
committee.
adhere the rules and regulations, right? We cannot give one team more time and the other team less time for this,
No,
waiting for
ma'am.
some.
The organizing committee has some issues, not my partner. They have called me personally that they have some issues on their end, so they are trying to sort it out.
Can you ask your team member to mainly join with the same link?
Ma'am, she is joining, but they have said that they have some problem at their end, the organizing committee, GIPS. So they will inform us when they will solve that problem.
Is the anchor here or someone who can moderate?
Hello. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm sorry for the inconvenience. Okay, so team number NDC019. Hello.
Yes.
Team number NDC019.
Can you just let us know what exactly is the issue?
Ma'am, actually they're not able to connect. We had some connectivity issue. Now we are connected, but the other team is not responding right now, being in the room. Team number NDC019. Team member of NDC019. Please respond.
Just check the chat option. She's saying that I'm trying to join. It's displaying that the browser is incompatible. That is what she has written in the chat option. Mahi Srivastava.
Ma'am, we are seeing to it. Thank you. This is the last call for NDCO 019. The team member who is present here, please respond.
Yes, I will.
You may continue if you want to continue with your debate.
Okay, so I can continue with my own part.
Yes, you can. The time will be started when you are ready.
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, so your time starts now.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm ND019B is speaking against the motion. CAA, in conjunction with NRC, is violative of the basic feature of the Indian Constitution. In particular, it breaches the constitutional guarantee of equality. The state, by arbitrarily admitting non-Muslims as citizens and by discriminately denying some persons citizenship just because of religious affiliation, have also torn apart the secular fabric of our constitution. For me, CAA with this divisive effect has insidiously indented the very idea of India. Before I begin with my argument, I would like to clarify my position with regard to CAA. Do I have a disagreement if CAA is accepting non-Muslims who are the only qualified beneficiary and are getting them a saffron carpet citizenship welcome? Indisputably, no. In fact, to the contrary, any positive move of the government toward migrants or illegal refugees or illegal migrants are worth applauding. But the problem begins where the CAA ends. What would be the fate of those Muslims, or to use the legal jargon, illegal migrant, to whom CAA mischievously excludes from conferment of citizenship? CAA violates Article 14 as it treats people situated equally unequally. Article 14 places a specific obligation on the state to treat all people, whether Indian or not, equally. At the same time, it does permit the state to give special treatment to certain categories of people, but the Supreme Court has laid a test for it, according to which the government should have a legitimate aim and a reasonable classification which has a rational nexus with the objective of the law. And CAA neither have a legitimate aim nor a reasonable classification, as it not only selects certain illegal migrants based on religion, but also do so for reasons that have no grounds in the law itself. CAA places equals into unequal position, and on this front, this act clearly violates Article 14 of the Constitution. This act excludes people who are worthy of being protected and should be brought under the ambit of this law. This act, by making religion as the basis of a special claim over other kinds of persecution, has also struck at the secular nature of the Constitution. The act, inter alia, reflects the anti-Muslim ideologies of the government. Muslim minorities will be further marginalized with the execution of this act, and there is as such assurance that this could cut short their sense of alienation. Therefore, in my humble opinion, this act is not just unconstitutional and a threat to the secular nature, rather than it's an assault on the cherished values of Indian Constitution. Thank you so much.
Yes. Ms. 19B, I understand there's a discrimination, and I understand mainly, as you said, that religious persecution is not only the one ground on which that can be done. So what exactly do you mainly recommend right now when it's already in place?
Sorry, ma'am. Last part is what?
Suggest any modification? What exactly are you looking for from the legislation right now?
Okay, Ma'am, since we all know that choosing which country, that means they have chosen only 3 countries. That is the sole prerogative of the executive, and we cannot interfere with that. But the thing is, if you have chosen 3 countries and you have gone for the minorities, it's very clear from the stat that even in those countries, Muslim people are also being persecuted on the basis of faith, that is religious persecution. Like Ahmadiyas of Pakistan, Parliament has passed a law that they are no more Muslim even. So you can say that they are also being persecuted. So when you are including these 3 countries and you're including 6 different communities, then there is no loss, or you can say there is no damage in including the Muslims also. And I've already said that I have no disagreement with the concept of including non-Muslim. My disagreement lies with the exclusion of Muslims, because the inclusive part of this act is absolutely fine. But the exclusive part of the act, that is something which is problematic. So I would suggest that if you are including 6 communities, there is no harm or damage in including one more community, which is of course undeniably are facing religious persecution over there.
Yeah, thank you. Sir, anything from your end? Sir, your mic is muted.
Yeah, no question from my side. I'm only wondering how to judge them as a team, because to be honest, individually you have done quite well. We are really happy with your performance, but I don't know what would be the fate of your team as a whole, whether you would be qualified or not.
Sir, we have prepared. I know, sir.
So we have tried a lot of times to let the other member in.
Yes, I think we are supposed to give individual marks, Padvi.
No, ma'am. Yes, the individual marks, but it will be counted as a team, as the rules said. That marks will be included by adding both the individual marks.
Yeah, so the team will be disqualified, but her individual marks we will nevertheless assign.
Yes, the team will be yes.
Okay, thank you so much for joining. Have a nice day.
Yes. So okay. So with this we have come to the end of the session 4 of our debate competition. And we have seen all the participants through their tremendous efforts put on great shows, thus making this an great event. On the behalf of CLS Gibbs, I would like to thank respected judges for sparing their valuable time and honoring us with their presence. Wishing all the best to all the participants. Thank you, and have a nice day. Thank you, judges, so much.
Thank you so much for coordinating, and we will be sending very soon the sheets also to the.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, doctor. It was nice meeting you.
Thank you, sir. Nice meeting you, sir.